Good Monday afternoon, everyone. I hope this day has greeted you with blessings. Wanted to talk today about life coaching and why I got into life coaching. I essentially started coaching back when Maria was a baby. I made a promise to God that if He gave us the supplies that we needed, that I would pass on that information to any family that I saw that even seemed like they would need that information. So when Maria was a little child, she was born early, so we left the hospital with her being diagnosed with cerebral palsy at that point and schizencephaly. That was something that I had never heard of before, but it's been a part of my life ever since. We had social services from the beginning. I was able to get the equipment that she needed. We had a bath seat. We had a tomato seat. It's one of those squishy chairs that has foam in it. It's very soft to the touch, and it would allow her seating to watch television. I would use it to feed her. That was pretty much her everyday chair. We also had a gait trainer. A gait trainer is that apparatus that you see. It has wheels on the bottom of it, two wheels on each side, and the person that's using it can be strapped into the handles. It could have a seat in the middle, and it helps her with her walking. Gait trainer, gait meaning walk. So we had everything that we needed. And since we got everything easily in North Carolina, I would literally walk up to families. Hey, do you know about this? Do you know about that? When we got to Georgia, I got the waiver for Maria, and that's when we were able to get services in Georgia. She was a little older, but she was still a child. And it's always easier to get waiver services as a child than it is as an adult. So I started life coaching very early. I would literally walk up to families and say, excuse me, do you know about these services? So that's when my advocacy started. When I became a teacher in IEP meetings, I would let parents know about the services that the community had because, of course, especially if they were students or children with Maria's level of need, those were the families that I would target more than anything. And then the families that needed lesser services, of course, that was easier because it's always harder to get the more extenuating services. And Maria is at a point now where she needs round-the-clock care. So in the pandemic, I became a certified life coach, and my 3 specialties were special education. I am a special education teacher. I have a master's degree in special education. I also have a master's degree in educational leadership. My second specialty was education. And then my third specialty was parenting. So I was on mymentor.life, mymentor.life. I was on that site for 3 years. I am now off that site, so I still do life coaching, but it's typically via inbox. So working for the school system, I end up doing a lot of free life coaching, which again, I told God, you take care of us. I will always take care of those that need my assistance. And so since I've had so much struggle with the education system, I look to see which families I can help, because that is just my focus wherever I land, to make sure that I'm able to help others. And when I got to my current school and realized that my issue was with the system and not with a particular school, my focus became, okay, what child here needs my assistance? And I thought I had found the child that needed my assistance, and then I had a conversation with one of my coworkers. She is not originally from the United States. She's from the islands. She has citizenship. Her son does not. And when I had a conversation with her and found out that her son has cerebral palsy and a lot of the other things that come with that, lordosis, scoliosis, seizure disorder. When I found that out, I immediately started asking her, do you have the waiver here? Does he have the help that he needs? And she told me that he didn't. And so, of course, me always wanting to be of service to parents that are in my same circumstance, especially when their child is younger than mine. And funny enough, I have yet to meet, and I know they exist, I just haven't run across them, parents that have children older than Maria. So Maria will be 27 this coming Saturday is her 27th birthday. This coworker that I met, her son is 20. So she starts telling me, no, he's not a citizen. And, she's had a hard time getting everything from Social Security to in-home care. And I had to take a step back because I'm the type of parent that shows up and pretty much demands services. So in every state, there's what's called a waiver. And there are different types of waiver, but pretty much what that waiver does is it opens up the world of services. And when I say services, I mean anything from equipment to nursing services, whether that be in a facility, in a group home, in the house. It could also be, what is it called when you have somebody come in and relieve you? Respite. It also includes respite services and all of that. And pretty much it's a state waiver. So every state in the South has a wait list. And I have had to go to extreme circumstances to get that waiver for Maria. We got it very easily in North Carolina. When I moved to Georgia, Maria was still young, and we had in-home services. You can get in-home services that are paid for through insurance or other means, but then the waiver gives you the most care. And I literally had to go down to the waiver office in Georgia and pretty much show them Maria and say, hey, I need help with her, or else I'm not going to be able to take care of her. And that's how I got the waiver in Georgia. In Florida, I had to go through a very similar process. And in Virginia, it was just an all-out battle. I've been threatened with neglect, being charged with neglect. I've been threatened with the police being called on me because I was taking Maria out of guaranteed care and putting her in harm's way by moving her across state lines. These waivers do not carry over. So if you get a waiver in the state of Georgia, it does not carry over to the state of Florida, does not carry over to the state of Virginia. And even if you have proof that your loved one has a waiver in one state, you still have to start the process over again to get a waiver in a brand new state. And at one point, before I got Maria up to Virginia, I tried to move back to Atlanta because we lived in Georgia for 10 years. So I had reached out to the waiver people back in 2022. I was trying to move back to the Atlanta area. I had already secured a job in housing, temporary housing, and they told me at the last minute they were putting her on the wait list. Well, just to give you all a clue of how long that wait list is, when I demanded that waiver back when Maria was a little girl, I think she was about 11 or 12 years old, when I demanded that waiver in Georgia and got it, I told a friend of mine who also has a daughter with cerebral palsy about what I did to get the waiver. Well, again, I'm not expecting anyone to go to the extremes that I personally go to, but she put her daughter on the wait list at the same time we got the waiver. In 2022, when I asked her about the waiver because we were trying to move back, her daughter was still on the wait list. So she's been on the wait list for 10 plus years. And in a lot of these southern states, the wait list is beyond 20 years. So when Georgia told me that they were putting Maria back on the wait list, I knew that Atlanta was not somewhere that we could move to. And I forced my way into Virginia. I literally had to show up at an ER to get help with Maria. And I moved her from South Florida to Virginia because the care that she was getting in South Florida wasn't effective. I knew that I could do better for her. I didn't know what that looked like, but I knew that if I didn't make any changes, there wouldn't be any changes. So it just happened to be the perfect storm with the pandemic and with her inadequate care and just needing more support and just getting to a point in faith where I just knew I just had to do what I could do and trust God to do the rest. And y'all, when I tell you, the only place that would be better for Maria at this point would be for her to be at home with family. She is loved. She is in a community. She has a life all her own for the first time ever. So I'm very grateful to Lily's Residential Services because that's where Maria is, up in Virginia. And she is living a good life up there. But that's how I got into life coaching. So again, my specialties would be parenting, education, and then of course special needs. So I appreciate you watching this video. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and peace and blessings.